Welcome to the archive of forgotten wisdom. I am the Watcher of the Heights, and today I will tell you the story of a man who had to die to finally start living. Julian Mantle was a titan of the courtroom, a gladiator in a $3,000 Italian suit. He owned the city, but he was a slave to the clock. He had the fame, the red Ferrari. He thought he was untouchable, until his heart issued a subpoena he couldn't ignore. In 1 second, the empire turned to dust. Tell me, what are you sacrificing for your Ferrari?
Julian survived the attack, but the man who woke up in that hospital bed wasn't the same man who fell. The doctors told him he was lucky to be alive. They told him to slow down, to retire, to take it easy. But Julian knew that taking it easy wouldn't fix the hole in his soul. He had spent his whole life chasing the horizon, only to find it empty. Then he remembered the stories, tales of a secret Himalayan tribe who held the key to eternal vitality and lasting joy. He didn't just sell his law firm, he sold everything: the penthouse, the private jet, and yes, he sold the red Ferrari. He headed east, not as a titan, but as a beggar for wisdom.
The air grew thin. The path grew steep. Julian was no longer a lawyer. He was a pilgrim. He walked until his boots fell apart. He walked until his old life felt like a dream he had once had in another language. High in the clouds he met him, a man with skin like old leather and eyes that held the spark of 1,000 suns. Yogi Raman, the man who had waited years for a student like Julian. Julian followed the sage into a valley that defied the laws of nature. Sivana was a paradise of roses and blue lotuses, where the air felt like silk. Yogi Raman began the first lesson. He told Julian to look at the vibrant life around them. "This," the sage whispered, "is the image of your mind." Most people treat their minds like a dumpster. They fill it with toxic garbage. Worry, fear, and the ghosts of the past. They let the weeds choke the flowers. But to master life, Julian learned he must guard the gate. Only the most beautiful thoughts are allowed to take root in the magnificent garden.
Deep within the beautiful garden stood a towering lighthouse of dark red stone. This lighthouse, Yogi Raman explained, is your purpose, your dharma. In the middle of a raging storm, the lighthouse does not move for the crashing waves. It stands perfectly still, and the violent waves must break around it. A life without a clear purpose is like a ship lost in a thick, choking fog. Without direction, you are destined to crash against the hidden rocks. But when you discover your true mission, the universe opens its doors. Set your sights on the light, and the world will make a way.
As they sat by the whispering waters, Yogi Raman looked deeply into Julian's tired eyes. He explained that the mind is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. Most people let any stray thought enter their mind, treating it like a chaotic public square. But the Sages of Sivana knew that clinical, focused thought is the source of all material and spiritual power. You cannot afford the luxury of a single negative thought. It acts like a drop of poison in a well of crystal clear water. A single worry leaks your vital energy, draining the soul of its natural strength. To master your life, Julian, you must first become the absolute master of your mind. You must stand as a fearless guardian at the gates of your thoughts, allowing only the best to enter.
To begin this mastery, Yogi Raman reached down and plucked a single magnificent red rose from the edge of the stream. He handed it to Julian and introduced an ancient ritual called the Heart of the Rose. He instructed Julian to find a quiet place and stare directly into the very center of the flower. Look at its deep crimson color, its texture, and its design. Fill your entire consciousness with its beauty. At first, your mind will drift. It will think of your past cases, your worries, and your old life. Do not fight the thought. Simply observe it, dismiss it, and return your focus to the heart of the rose. Every day you must practice this for 20 minutes. It will train your mind like a muscle. Soon your focus will become unshakable, and your life will blossom with immense power. Julian sat beneath an ancient banyan tree, the red rose held firmly between his calloused hands. He stared at the center of the flower, trying desperately to lock his focus onto its crimson heart. But his mind refused to comply. It was a wild, untamed beast screaming for attention. Suddenly, he wasn't in a peaceful valley anymore. He was back in that suffocating courtroom. He heard the pounding gavel. He felt the terrifying, crushing weight of the heart attack tearing through his chest. Images of his sleek Ferrari, his cold mansion, and his mountain of broken relationships flashed before his eyes. Exhausted, gasping for air, Julian closed his eyes and dropped his head, completely defeated by his own thoughts. The high-priced corporate lawyer realized he was a prisoner inside his own skull.
A soft footstep crunched on the stone path, and Yogi Raman knelt beside his struggling student. The master smiled, his voice like oil on troubled waters. "Do not punish yourself, Julian," he said softly. "The mind is a creature of habit. It takes time to empty a cup that has been filled with sludge for 40 years. Then he shared a supreme cosmic secret. The mind can only hold one thought at a time. This is the law of opposition. A positive thought and a negative thought cannot sit on the same throne. If a worry enters your mind, you do not fight it. You simply replace it with a thought of absolute beauty. You cannot think of the chaos of your past when you are fully absorbed by the design of a beautiful flower." The master gently lifted Julian's chin, pointing back toward the vibrant red petals. "Try again."
Julian took a long, deep breath, letting the cool mountain air expand his lungs. He looked down at the rose once more, but this time he didn't try to force his mind to be still. Instead, he simply allowed himself to be fascinated by the intricate pattern of the petals. The camera of his awareness zoomed in to the deep velvety red creases, absorbing the pure symmetry of nature. For the first time in his entire life, the internal chatter began to quiet down. The courtrooms, the billable hours, and the heavy anxieties vanished into a vast, beautiful silence. A profound sense of peace, warmer than the midday sun, washed over his entire being. In that single golden minute, Julian took his very first step toward becoming the master of his soul. With his mind finally quieted, Yogi Raman stood and gestured for Julian to follow him deeper into the valley. They walked until they stood at the base of the monumental lighthouse, made of ancient, dark red stone. The master turned to Julian and said, "Mind mastery is only the foundation. It is the fuel for a greater journey. The second virtue of a life of lasting fulfillment is to discover your true purpose, your dharma." He pointed up at the massive tower. A lighthouse does not exist to be beautiful. It exists to guide ships through the storm. Most people spend their days drifting aimlessly, reacting to every passing wave because they have no destination. But when you have a clear, burning mission, your life gains an unshakable direction. Julian looked up at the towering red stone, realizing he was about to build a blueprint for his entire future.
Yogi Raman sat on a flat stone step, explaining the 5-step method to attain any goal. The first step, Julian, is to form a crystal-clear mental image of your desired outcome. If you want to be peaceful, you must see yourself peaceful in the eye of your mind. The second step is to create positive pressure on yourself. A vow made only in secret is easily broken. You must commit your goals to paper or share them with someone you deeply respect. Without this pressure, your old habits of laziness and comfort will drag you back into the shadows. Pressure is not your enemy. It is the catalyst that forces a diamond to form from coal. Julian listened intently, realizing that success was not a mystery, it was a precise science.
Yogi Raman stood up, his crimson robes catching the mountain breeze as he continued. The third step in mastering your purpose is to never set a goal without a definitive timeline. A goal without a deadline is a mere fantasy, a cloud that drifts away with the wind. The fourth step is the magic rule of 21. To build a new habit, you must perform it daily. For 21 consecutive days, you must practice your purpose without a single exception. The brain is like clay. It takes 3 weeks of consistent pressure to forge a new neurological pathway. If you break the chain even once, the clay resets and you must begin again from day 1. Julian nodded slowly, feeling the immense power of structure returning to his chaotic soul.
Yogi Raman placed his hand gently near Julian's shoulder, his amber eyes softening with profound compassion. "The final step, Julian, is the most important of all. Never forget to live with a spirit of deep joy. Do not become so obsessed with reaching the top of the mountain that you forget to appreciate the flowers along the way. Your former life was a tragedy because you chased the destination while ignoring the beauty of the present moment. A life built purely on accumulation is a hollow victory. True success lies in the laughter shared and the lives touched. Wake up every morning with a sense of wonder. Treat each day as a sacred gift, not a corporate race." As the master spoke, a wave of profound relief washed over Julian's face, clearing away decades of tension. He realized he wasn't just learning how to succeed, he was finally learning how to live.
The golden sun began to drop behind the massive peaks, casting long, majestic purple shadows across Sivana. Yogi Raman looked down at Julian, his amber eyes flashing with a mysterious, ancient spark. "You have done well, Julian," the master whispered. "You have mastered your mind, and you have built your lighthouse. But your transformation has only just begun. The foundation is set.
Tomorrow, at dawn, I will
winter
share
storms
with
are
you
coming
a
early.
sacred
You
ancient
must find the
fable
hidden
that
path before the
contains
snow
the
closes
remaining
it forever.
5 secrets. A fable of a 9-foot-tall naked sumo wrestler, a pink wire fence, and an extraordinary gold stopwatch. Julian stared at the master, his soul burning with an unquenchable desire for the deep wisdom ahead. The journey of the monk who sold his Ferrari had officially begun. End of part 1.
Time for my sleep. I will tell the remaining secrets in the next part.